Hey, hotep, you guys, welcome back to the Chosen Few channel. I'm your host, Matthew Daniels, the writer, author, scribe, and bookworm. But I'm not just a bookworm world, I'm the real bookworm. Make sure you get it right. And as always, may your name live on forever, and may your memory, family, may your memory never die. Today we're going to be talking about the Queen and the Knight. The Queen and the Knight. A lot of times you've heard stories about the knight in shining armor and the damsel in distress and the knight in shining armor springing into action for the damsel in distress. But what I'm going to do for you guys, I'm going to show you guys an historical account of one such knight in shining armor and one such damsel in distress, the Queen and the Knight. Today, we're going to be looking at Froissart's Chronicles, family. We're going to be looking at a book called Froissart's Chronicles. Now, who is Froissart and what is Froissart's Chronicles? It says, Jean Froissart was born around 1337 at Valenciennes. So he was born around 1337. That's over 600 years ago. So I'm taking you back over 600 years. Jean Froissart was born around 1337 at Valenciennes. When he was 20, the Lord of Beaufort asked him to write the chronicles of the wars and feats of chivalry of his time, and this became a lifelong occupation. Listen, he went to England in 1361, where he joined the entourage of Queen Philippa, wife of Edward III of England. The Queen asked him to search Christendom for stories of knights and squires to complete his chronicles. So he was requested by those in power to write these chronicles of these feats of daring of these knights. So he went around interviewing people and collecting stories of knights. And one of those stories I'm going to tell you today. Remember, the Queen and the Knight. Listen, the first book of the Chronicles was published in 3 versions. The second book was completed in 1388 and the third in 1390. He, Froissart, was revising the fourth when he died in 1410. So he died in 1410. May your name live on forever and may your memory never die. So what I'm talking about with the Queen and the Knight, the Queen of England got into a situation where she had to flee the country, family. That's where I want to start at. The king had made friends with a wicked individual, but this wicked individual was powerful. He had a lot of money and he had a lot of goons, and he didn't mind getting people killed. And he had the ear of the king so much that he kept convincing the king to get enemies of him whacked. So what happened was, this evil guy who had the ear of the king, he wanted to get the queen whacked and her son whacked. The queen find out, she knowing her husband knows so wide open for this dude, the king might just have her killed. She shake the spot, right? She flees, she shake the spot. He says, and the queen, pretending to go on a pilgrimage to the shrine of St. Thomas at Canterbury, went on to Winchelsea, and there embarked on a ship that was made ready for her, and her son Edward, the Earl of Kent, and Sir Roger Mortimer, taking with them provisions in another boat. They had a fair wind, and the next morning arrived at the harbor of Boulogne. So they shook the spot because she knew that this guy could convince her husband, the king, to do some crazy stuff because he'd been doing ill, wild, and crazy stuff. So she shook the spot and went to France. Why did she go to France? Because her brother was the king of France. You have to understand, a lot of times, man, even right now today, but a lot of times in the past, people made alliances with marriages. You would notice that the powerful family over here and the powerful family over here, a lot of individuals in those families were mixed and married and had kids together. And so these countries were kind of tied in with each other based on marriage. So here it is, the Queen of England, when she shook the spot, she went to the King of France, but the King of France was her brother. And when the King of France saw his sister, whom he had not seen for a long time, he went up to her as she came into his chamber and took her right hand and kissed her and said, "Welcome, my fair sister and your fine son." The queen, who had little joy in her heart except at being near her brother, the king, king tried to kneel down 2 or 3 times at his feet, but the king would not allow her, and kept hold of her right hand and inquired most kindly how she was and what had brought her. So when her brother see her pop up, he embraced her. Oh man, I ain't seen my sister in a long time. What happened? She give him the spiel. This is what's going on in the kingdom. It wasn't no internet, wasn't no phones, wasn't no radio. You get what I'm saying? You couldn't just instantly convey a message. You had to physically tell the message. We're talking 600 years ago, over 600 years ago. And Froissart, that's when Froissart wrote it. And he's writing about stuff that happened before his time. You understand what I'm saying? So when she got there with her entourage, her brother embraced her. Hey, and asked her, it's been a long time since I seen you. What's going on? So she give him the plate. Right? She give him the play. So she give him the play. And at first, her brother, he was like, okay, man, now I'll give you anything you need. I'll give you any kind of support that you need. You can stay here as long as you want. So while she was staying there, right, the wicked guy that was back with her husband, the king, he was still kicking up a whole lot of dust. And this king was still kicking up a whole lot of dust, having people beheaded over nonsense. And so there was a remnant of people left in the queen's home country who sent word to her and was like, hey, if you can rally up enough men and come back like with a fighting force, we will join you. And then we could just overthrow the wicked guy. We can overthrow the king. And then we can put your son on the king. He's the rightful king anyway. He got the rightful bloodline. So her brother was like, well, you know what? That sounds like a good idea, right? That sounds like a good idea. But the wicked guy who had the ear of the king, he had so much pull, family. He had so much money. He had so many spies in so many places that he knew where the queen ran to. He knew what the queen had told her brother and the king of France. So he sent his own messages to talk to the king. And guess what? He convinced the king of France, her brother, to stay out of the business, man. Look, check this out. But this could not be kept secret from Sir Hugh Despenser. Sir Hugh Despenser is the wicked guy who got the ear of the king. And in the course of time, he was so active with messages and presents and promises that King Charles, the brother, was won over and told his sister, Queen Isabel, as definitely and clearly as he could to stay quiet and to abandon her projects. Listen to this. And he gave orders that nobody on pain of exile should help nor accompany the queen, his sister. So his sister come to him for help, saying that she think this dude want to have her knocked off. He say, oh man, no man, that's you, my sister. I got a whole kingdom. We finna rally some people. We finna go handle that business. We finna kick the butt of the king. This Hugh Despenser, we finna take care of him. He reach out to King Charles. He reach out to her brother before they can make the move. Say whatever he gonna say, but you know it had to be some gangster stuff. He said whatever he gonna say, and then old boy he changed his mind. He was like, "Oh, wait a minute. You know what? Nah." He told his sister, "Matter of fact, I'm not getting in your business. You acting a fool. You shouldn't even be over here with that nonsense. You need to take your butt back there and be a wife to your dear." That's what he said. You need to take your butt back over there and be a wife to your husband and quit causing this nonsense and this division. And then because she refused to go back, he told everybody in his kingdom the punishment was exile, banishment if they helped his sister. So his sister, she had to shake the spot again, family. She had to shake the spot again. And so now she went to a place where she could encounter this dude who we talking about in the story, a knight, Sir John of Hainault. Yeah, I pronounce it wrong, but it is what it is. Sir John of Hainault. She went and she tried to seek refuge and help somewhere else. He say, and she decided to leave France, where her brother was at, and go down into Hainault to see the Count of Hainault and Sir John, his brother, who were most honorable knights of the highest reputation. So she ran to two knights of the highest reputation, the queen and the knight. Knights in shining armor, damsel in distress. This doggone show is damsel in distress. Let's see what the knight in shining armor does. Let's see what Froissart says. And when the good Sir John heard the queen's sad lament, because the queen told him everything that had happened up until when her brother abandoned her. And when the good Sir John heard the queen's sad lament and saw that she was in tears, he took great pity on her and greatly comforted her with these words. So this was Sir John of Hainault said, "May your name live on forever and may your memory never die. Madame, you may count on me as your own knight. I will stand by you to the death even though everyone else failed you. I will do all in my power to see you and your son restored to your rightful position in England with the help of your friends there, as you say yourself. And I, with everybody that I can enlist, will stake my life in your service. So what he did, he jumped out the boxing for this woman that had just popped up saying, here, knight, this what he do. He a defender of the damsel in distress. He finna put his life on the line. And then he say he know other knights, because there was a lot of knights running around. It wasn't just a handful. He said, I'm going to go rally up some other knights, and they going to put their life on the line for you too. They going to put their life on the line for you too. That was actually some real stuff considering the circumstances. She just came and found him, said what he said. He could have been going over there to die. He was willing to go over there and die. But when she told him the situation, he was like, hey, if you got people over there that say they're ready to fight, we can rally up as many people as we can. We could go over there, land. When we land here, sure, we're going to rally those people that's over there ready to fight. Then we're going to handle that business, and we're going to wreck shop. This the queen agreed to and said, sir, I find in you more love and comfort than in the whole world. And for what you say and offer, I thank you 1,000 times. We will never do you any disservice. But if in time we are restored, as I hope, by the comfort and grace of God and yourself, you will be richly rewarded. So you already know, she telling them, hey man, I appreciate you willing to jump out there on the limb for me. And when I get back on my throne, I'm going to bless your game, which she should. You understand what I'm saying? Which she should. So what happened was they got on some ships. He rallied some people. They got on some ships. They went back to England, right? Went back to England, landed. And when they made it to a town, they told people who they were. They went and told the supporters. The supporters showed up like they said they was, and they went on a war campaign headed to where the king and the evil guy was at. The news of their arrival spread over the country until it reached those who had communicated with the queen and invited her back. And they immediately prepared to come and see her and her son, whom they wanted as their sovereign. In every town they entered, they were honored and feasted with new supporters, joined them right and left from every side. They reached the city of Bristol and laid siege to it. So they laid siege to the city that the king and the evil guy, Hugh Despenser, whatever his name is, where they were at, they laid siege to the city. And at first the people tried to stand for the king and the wicked guy. But then when they realized that they were going to die and they could not win, they say, hey man, why are we going to die for these people? We need to just turn on them. The jig is up. We need to just surrender and hand them over. So they surrendered and they handed them over. And Sir John of Hanover, the knights and the queen, they were successful. And the knight in shining armor actually helped the queen, the damsel in distress, get the damn throne back. Look, check this out. This knight took counsel with the other barons and knights and reported it as their definite opinion that the defendants deserved death for the many horrible crimes which they had been charged and which were believed to be clearly proved. So they talking about the king and the wicked guy and the people that stood with them after they had surrendered and were captured. They basically held court on them and realized that they deserved death, and that they deserve from the cruelty of their own deeds to suffer in 3 ways. First, to be dragged to a place of execution, then to be beheaded, and then displayed on a gibbet. According to this sentence, they were executed before the castle at Bristol in full view of the king and Sir Hugh the Younger. This execution took place in the year 1326 on the feast of St. Denis in October. So the queen won back the whole kingdom of England with the help and support of Sir John of Hanover and his men. Thus ended this bold and noble enterprise, and Queen Isabel reconquered her entire kingdom and destroyed her enemies, and the king was captured by a turn of fate, as you have heard, at which the whole country rejoiced together, except a few who supported Sir Hugh Despenser. Reading is fundamental. So what we've been looking at today is Froissart's Chronicles. We've been talking about the Queen and the Knight. Just another story that I like. If you have this book, we can talk about it. If you don't have this book and you enter stuff like that, man, you may want to go get it. But thank you guys for watching. This is your brother Matthew Daniels, a.k.a. I'm Pooh, a.k.a. The Chosen Few, a.k.a. The Real Bookworm. I'm not a bookworm, world. I'm the real bookworm. Make sure you get it right. And as always, may your name live on forever, and may your memory never die.